Think autos and only think slowdown pangs. Definitely you have seen the Motown production trends which have been on the downside. We're getting into an in-depth discussion as to what the outlook is for the two-wheeler space. Are we going to see margins at risk? Are we going to see a continued and a prolonged slowdown? First, let's get in Karanya, who tracks the sector closely, who joins in with all the data and details. Karanya.
Well, Avad, those are the exact questions to which most people on the streets are still looking for an answer. Because if you look at the volume trend for the last 3 months, Feb has been the third consecutive month where two-wheeler sales domestically have been on a decline. In fact, for the last 6 months, the trend has been very, very sluggish, with, of course, December, January and February being particularly very, very alarming. Now, why is it happening? What is leading to this increased slowdown in demand for two-wheelers? Is first up, there's been a rise in vehicle prices. The insurance costs, of course, is something that has added to the overall cost of ownership, leading to the demand going down. There was also a lower sowing of the Rabi crop, the winter crop, and a lot of uncertainty with respect to elections. Now, these are some key triggers that have been, especially on the rural front, weakening the demand for two-wheelers. Customers are down trading as well. The entry-level demand is going up. We saw players like Bajaj Auto doling out incentives as well to sort of push the sales when it comes to entry level and executive level segments, and that seems to be working well. So a lot of people are saying that that also is an important trend which is about customers down trading. Now, apart from that, another trend to watch out for is the fact that for the first time in the last 4-5 years, scooters have seen a significantly, significant deterioration when it comes to demand, deceleration rather when it comes to demand. Even in the month of Feb, the scooter volumes were down 7% versus a degrowth of about 2 to 3% coming in for the motorcycles. Now, what lies ahead? That's the thing we want to ask. Our experts will be joining us later as well. Now, a lot of OEMs are now cutting and recalibrating their production in line with the weakening demand. Royal Enfield has trimmed their output guidance twice in FY19. Hero Motors production has fallen 13 to 14% as well. If you look at Honda Motors and Scooters India as well, even they have seen a very, very alarming inventory level of over 60 days, pushing them as well to sort of decline and trim down their production guidance.
Okay, we'll take that conversation forward. We've got Nikunj Sanghi, Director of FADA, and we've got along with him Mayur Milak, Research Analyst. Let me start with my namesake, Nikunj here. What do you think of the current news, Nikunj, which has come from auto companies where now they're saying that forget about a slowdown, our sales have reached at a level where we need to start cutting our production. Do you think this is adjustment before the new emission norms kick in, or this is a state of the auto market where demand has plummeted and it will remain low for an extended period of time? That question is for you, Nikunj Sanghi.
I guess it is more to do with demand, which is very, very sluggish, and I'm not surprised. You would have read the Economic Times today, which talks of degrowth of almost 1% in FMCG. Now, as you would realize that FMCG are fast-moving consumer goods, which are basic necessities, and with increasing population, normally you would see the FMCG grow. But if FMCG is degrowing, it talks a lot about the demand pattern in the market. And I'm not very surprised that two-wheelers are impacted hugely. But I think this is a short-term story. Things are likely to improve, but not in the near future.
Right. Mayur, what is your own observation on how long this pain is going to persist? Because what began with passenger vehicles has clearly now trickled down to two-wheelers as well, with their own specific reasons, of course.
Yeah, so in first week March, we did a road show, road channel check at Eastern UP, and as rightly pointed, the observations are not very attractive for the two-wheeler pack. We met about 40-45 dealers only to really conclude that the Honda dealers mentioned that inventory is well above 60 days. The TVS and Hero dealers were also under pressure of achieving targets, and really mentioning that the walk-in itself have slowed down. So I actually think that this pain is there to stay for in the near term. if inventory is as high as 55-60 days, it was just a matter of time that you would start seeing significant production cuts.
So Mayur, what exactly do you believe then will be the key negative for the auto sector? What do you think is going to be the biggest concern? Because the lower Rabi crop sowing, the rise in the vehicle prices and even election uncertainty seem to come on top of mind. So what according to you could lead to a further decline in the overall volume picture and trend for the sector?
Yeah, honestly, if you ask me, while yes, there are certain channel checks which are suggesting that, the near-term volume growth for the entire two-wheeler industry might, really look a pretty dicey scenario. But let's face it, the valuations are really attractive. At this point in time, fundamentally, if you ask me whether I'd want to sell a Hero or a Bajaj, I will really not, be a party to that. I'd probably wait for the negative news to really pass on and probably start accumulating these stocks. I think valuations are very attractive. But yes, also having said that, it is definitely a cause of concern that the retail sales have not picked up, despite the marriage season being there. We are only anticipating that that with the elections around the corner, you'd start seeing probably some numbers come back, maybe June, July onwards.
Nikunj Sanghi, some would also argue that one side there is a drop in demand. On the other side, you've got BS or new emission norms which have kicked in. Then you've got fear or this event uncertainty of elections. If I put all the three things together, is this bad news? Is this very bad news? Is this very, very bad news for two-wheelers?
Well, I would moderate. I would say it is very bad news, and I do not see things picking up in the next 2 quarters because the July-September quarter in any case is the weakest quarter for the entire automobile industry, not just the two-wheeler industry. So if at all I see a silver lining, I can talk about it only post-September or the festival season for this year. But before that, I think we will need to be extremely careful. Dealers will need to moderate their inventories. And I think they can only do that with the support of the manufacturers. Manufacturers seem like they are in favor of correcting the inventories, and therefore you are getting news that almost every manufacturer is planning some kind of an inventory correction next month. I do not see too much inventory correction happening this month because financial year ending, and I think there is a pressure on meeting, if not 100% target, at least 90% plus target for every OEM.
Mayur, the big worry is that this, Nikunj just flagged off all of these concerns, is that we're going to see this sort of a trickle-down effect impacting the financials. So what is the outlook for the margins of the two-wheelers? Are they at serious risk?
Yeah, honestly, I don't really see this as a margin impact, if you ask me, because, while yes, there have been price increases, we have seen some hardening of the raw material also, but I don't see this as a 20-25% kind of volume decline that will impact margins significantly. I think 100-200 bips here and there, I think is people have anticipated that. The investors already know that a slowdown is around the corner, so your margins will get impacted. I think most of that has been discounted in the price today. So I don't see that as a shocker or a surprise in the quarterly numbers to really follow.
So let's get closing comments from you, Mayur. Stocks are attractive, but they could remain attractive till the time growth comes back.
I think yes, closing.
No, my question to you is that stocks are attractive.
Yes.
I completely agree with you.
I wouldn't want to sell, but I'll offer. Yes. Yeah, so my point is, that I'll probably not be a seller at this price. I'll keep digging into, the news as and when it comes. And that first silver lining that is visible, we'll probably want to pick up most of these two-wheeler stocks.
Bajaj Auto, because it's got exports.
Yes. So I think, we've recently heard the management that, they've changed their stance from again focusing back onto margins. And our channel check also suggested that the entry level bike that was really about 36,000, they've raised prices for that also. So while we see that some benefit of that will reflect into Bajaj Auto's blended margins, we also see that Hero will start seeing some numbers coming back to their entry level 100cc bikes. So it should be a benefit for both of them, and that is why I probably want to play a contra call at this point in time, be a buyer with these two stocks rather than sell them from current levels.
So Nikunj, you don't see this situation getting arrested anytime soon, do you?
Definitely not. Not at least in the next 2 quarters.
Okay. Okay. Guess that is what the market seem to be pricing in already, considering you are seeing most of these two-wheeler names, barring of course Bajaj Auto, wherein 30% of their revenues comes in from exports. You can see these autos actually hit hard. But Nikunj as well as Mayur, both of you, thanks so much for walking us through the pain really, which is wriggling the two-wheeler industry now after it hit hard the passenger vehicle segment as well. Most of these auto stocks, two-wheelers in particular, continue to languish, as do PVs like Maruti, and of course Tata Motors has been one of the biggest disappointments, and each of them, mind you, for a different reason altogether.